Hello St Bart's School, welcome to Wow, Christmas has just got real. Over the next few weeks, myself and other friends from the Corn churches are going to help us look at the Christmas story. And I'm going to kick things off today with our first assembly. We're going to start today with a quick quiz. I've got 5 questions for you, and each question's got 3 possible answers, and you've got to work out which is the correct answer. So, question number 1. How long did the 100-Year War last? Was it A, 100 years? Was it B, 200 years? Or was it C, 116 years? How long did the 100-Year War last? Well, if you think the answer is A, 100 years, I'm afraid that's the wrong answer. And so is B, 200 years. The 100-Year War actually lasted 116 years. Strange answer, but it is true. Question number 2. What are camel hair brushes made from? Camel hair brushes are used to brush jackets and coats and things like that. But are they made out of A, human hair, B, camel hair, or C, squirrel fur? What are camel hair brushes made of? Well, if you went for answer A, human hair, I think you'll be relieved to know that is actually the wrong answer. And so is B, camel hair. Camel hair brushes are not made from camel hair. The correct answer is C, squirrel fur. Question number 3. What creature are the Canary Islands named after? The Canary Islands are very beautiful islands and people go there on their holidays sometimes. But what are they named after? Are they named after A, dogs, B, canaries, or C, goldfish? What are the Canary Islands named after? Well, if you did go for answer B, canaries, I'm afraid that is the wrong answer. And so is C, goldfish. Believe it or not, the Canary Islands are actually named after dogs. Dogs are sometimes called canines, and I think that's how it works. Canines, canary. That's where we get the word from. Question number 4. What was King George VI's first name? Was it A, Gerald? Was it B, Albert? Or was it C, George? What was King George VI's first name? Well, you think the correct answer was probably C, George. But that wasn't actually his real first name, nor was it A, Gerald. His real name was actually Albert, but when he became king, he took on the name George. And the last one, number 5. From where do we get Chinese gooseberries? Is it A, China, B, New Zealand, or C, Malaysia? Where do we get Chinese gooseberries? Well, they don't come from A, China, nor do they come from C, Malaysia. Chinese gooseberries are actually grown in New Zealand. Now, there's a quiz with lots of surprises, and today we're going to look at a story that included a lot of surprises. Before we get to the story, I want to do a couple of things. First of all, I want to show you my pop-up green screen. I'm sure you've seen these before and you know how they work. Basically, an actor will perform in front of a green screen, and then the filmmaker, using computers, can turn the green screen into all sorts of scenery. In Star Wars, the actor might look like that they're actually performing in space. Or if it's Tarzan, it can look like he's actually swinging through a jungle. Or let's say Spider-Man. It makes the actor look like he really is climbing up the side of skyscrapers. Now, we're going to use a green screen today, but we're not going to use computers. Instead, we're going to use our imagination and pretend what the background might look like when we hear the story. Our imagination can be far more powerful than any computer, and we can pretend that this story is taking place in a town or in a desert or on a mountainside or even by the side of the sea. When we listen to the story, with our imagination, we can fill in and pretend what is going on in the background. And in a way, we can actually imagine and pretend ourselves into the story. Now let's find out about the person in today's story. Firstly, what do you think her name is? Is it A, Mary, B, Bob, or is it C, Joseph? Well, I gave that one away, didn't I? What's her name? So it isn't B, Bob, or C, Joseph. The story is about someone called Mary. How old do you think Mary is in our story? Do you think she's in her teens? Or do you think B, she's 24 years? Or do you think C, she's actually 33 years old? Well, the answer is A. This story is about someone called Mary who's in her teens. Where does she come from? Where does she live? Does she live in A, London, B, Jerusalem, or C, a very small town? Well, Mary wasn't from Britain, so she didn't live in London. Jerusalem is the big city in the country where she lived, but she wasn't from there either. She was actually from a very small town. So Mary was actually very ordinary. She was quite young, and she lived in a very small town in a very small country. But in this story, we're going to find out something very surprising happened when she had an unexpected visitor. And her older cousin Elizabeth is going to tell us all about Mary's story.
Shalom. Welcome to our home. I'm so sorry that my husband Zechariah isn't here to greet you. I wish he were here because I've got such exciting news to tell him about a visit I've just had. But he must have been held up at the temple. He's a priest there, you know. In fact, I must just tell you about a visit he had at the temple about 6 months ago. So he was doing his priestly duties, and he looked up, and standing there by the altar was an angel. And the angel said to him, "I am Gabriel. Do not be afraid, Zechariah. Your prayer has been heard. Your wife Elizabeth," that's me, "is going to give you a son, and you are to call him John." Well, Zechariah couldn't quite believe this. I mean, a baby at my age. But the angel said, "I stand in the presence of God, and I have been sent to speak to you and to tell you this good news." And it's true. I am going to have a baby, even though everyone said I was too old. How amazing is that? But I've just heard something even more amazing than that. And that's what I can't wait to tell my husband. Because I just had a visit from my young relative, Mary, and she came all the way out here to the hill country to tell me her amazing news, which is that she has been specially chosen by God to do something truly miraculous. How does she know? Well, she had a visit from an angel, the same angel that my husband saw. And the angel said to her, "Do not be afraid, Mary. You have found favour with God. You are going to have a baby son, and you are to call him Jesus. He will be great, and he will be called the Son of the Most High, and his kingdom will never end." Well, Mary was a bit unsure about this. I mean, she's so young, and she and Joseph aren't even married yet. But the angel said, "The Holy Spirit will come upon you, and your holy baby will be called the Son of God." Well, of course, I wanted to know what she said back to the angel. And what she said was, "I am the Lord's servant. May it be just as you say. Well, there's true faith for you, accepting this news so calmly and trustingly. Well, talk about excitement. I said to her, you and your child are so blessed. And I can't believe that you, who will be the mother of the Lord, should come and tell me this fantastic news. Now, I can guess what you're thinking. You're thinking this is all so unbelievable. But I do believe Mary, because I knew as soon as I laid eyes on her, there was something different about her. And my baby knew too. He was sort of wriggling about inside me as if he was excited that she was there. And the angel was right in saying that I would have a baby. So he must be right in saying that Mary will have a baby and that he will be the Son of God. Oh, now you see why I'm so excited to tell Zechariah. Where are you? Come on home. I'm bursting to tell you this news.
I wonder what you imagined on the green screen. Perhaps that's something you can share with your class in a little while. But now let's think about the story. Something amazing happened, of course. An angel appeared to Mary and told her that she was going to have a baby. Now, this was no ordinary thing. This baby was very special. The angel told Mary that she was going to have a baby who was God's own son, and of course this was Jesus. And one day he would grow up to be a king who would lead the people forever. God had chosen a very ordinary girl for this special thing to happen to her. Mary believed and she trusted God, and she agreed to everything that the angel had told her. Now let's think about this for a moment. I've got a Christmas decoration here that comes from Sweden, and as you can see it's got some candles, and when they are lit, the heat makes the angels here spin round, and as they spin round they chime against the bells. In a minute I'm going to light the candles, and I want to use this to help us think about this story, and I've got some more questions for you. How do you think Mary would have felt when the angel appeared? How do you think she felt knowing that she had been chosen to have this very special baby? And finally, what would you have thought if you had actually been there when the angel appeared and told Mary this news? I'm going to turn the lights down now and just give us a few moments to think about these things. How Mary must have felt and what you would have felt if you had been there.